But since you brought it up,
Since
it's almost like we planned a segue here, guys. Like, just since you brought it up,
click. Woo!
There's some new stuff that happened this week in the world of iiRcade. Am I wrong?
News?
You guys, we got a picture of Dead Cells here. If I can find it. Now I can't find it. Where is it? Here we go. Look at that beautiful
boom shakalaka.
Boom. Well, guys, unless you've been living under a rock, which I suspect if you're watching this show, which is all about iiRcade, you've probably seen this before, right? So let's talk about this, guys. What do you guys think? Mikey, what's your first impressions of this? This was the announcement this week at iiRcade at CES. What do you think, Mikey?
My initial reaction is that is the most beautiful looking stock cabinet that is going to be for sale. I mean, we can't say it's for sale yet, but for 2022, and that's not, knocking any other companies, but I'm just telling you, and I'm not saying the Dead Cells one specifically, but just the Gen 2 design is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's a work of art in my opinion. And so that's my biggest takeaway. And my second biggest takeaway is how iiRcade is listening to the fans. I mean, we have to give them credit, where credit is due. I mean, yes, everybody is going to say, the big G word games, but I know they're trying because look at what they're doing here for everyone. I mean, you asked for it and they are providing it. So
yeah, the number one thing fans ask for is like, where is the lit marquee? Where is that lit marquee?
Exactly what I was going to say.
Why doesn't it look just like my other arcades? Now they have a Western arcade look. You like that Western arcade look? You want to sit it next to your row of other arcades? It's cool. It looks like it belongs now.
Now, this was the only
two options the way it looks.
This is the one that they confirmed. No, they confirmed
cosmetic.
Four different skins. Which ones were those again?
They
somebody took notes.
Double Dragon, Dragon's Lair, Retromania, and Dead Cells.
Yep.
So those ones we know we're going to have those skins, but they'll probably do others as well. And they didn't have anything totally finalized. This was what the booth. So I'm going to cover your guys' faces for a minute. You might have to do one of these things, right? This is what the booth looked like at CES. You can kind of see Dead Cells there on the left. You see Space Ace, Rising Hell in the back there. The Sydney Hunter cabinet's beautiful. You got your Double Dragon, you got your Dragon's Lair on the right, you got a Toe Jam and Earl, you got your in the back there, you got your Retromania. But like you said, we don't have everything finalized, totally confirmed yet, but very cool booth. DK, what do you think about this new cabinet?
Well,
I
built a bunch of cabinets, and it was kind of cool actually because as my daughter started college, I was building cabinets and reselling them on OfferUp, and that's kind of how we paid for some of my daughter's college. She goes to UCSD. But no, the cabinet, my takeaway is this. I was watching a video of Retro Ralph, and he was originally looking at the very first prototype design, and they had like a 17-inch monitor. It was white. It had this big giant R on the front. You guys remember that? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Look how far.
I had a picture of that already.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It was pretty ugly. We can all agree on that.
I mean, like I said, if you've watched some of my videos, you've seen I've built my own cabinet, right? I've modded Arcade 1-Up, stuff like that. But the thing that I want to point out is when they actually brought the cabinet to market, it was substantially better. And what was that, like a year ago, right? So
1 year.
Now look, fast forward 1 year later, and the improvements between prototype to Gen 1 to Gen 2 are off the hook. And if they're putting this much time and effort into making this thing just go into beast mode, you have to know that they're going to do the same thing with the games, and we just have to be patient. It's hard, right? Because as gamers, right, we're like, we want it now. You know what I mean?
I know.
Right?
And imagine if you're iiRcade, you're sitting on game, you know what's coming, but you're in a situation where you really can't tell people what's coming.
Right.
You can tell from some of these interviews that Rexer was doing.
He
wants to say stuff. He wants to say stuff he can't.
But they can't. And that's fair. That's the way the game works.
Yep.
The licensing game.
So there's a few things, and I know Brad took some extensive notes as we were watching some of these booth tours. Thank you, by the way, to the Rexer show. Gave us all kinds of on several different shows. We saw all kinds of footage. Excuse me, but what were some of the things that we're talking about, Brad? If you want to run down the list, these are changes.
They're going to move to an octagonal gate inside the machine. Instead of having ball tops, they'll have bat tops. They also are, the motherboard position is going to be changed outside of the control deck. So probably behind the monitor, they've moved the guts of the machine. So you know what that means.
We'll get to
speculate a little bit.
That. We'll get to some speculation here in a minute. Let's
hold off on that. It's the same monitor, but we get three extra inches. It's 3 inches taller. And it's going to play all the same games.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of had to do that because of the marquee. If they didn't make it taller, the marquee would be right in your face. But let me point out this. Rexer is 6'4". He's a tall dude. And he said standing at that, now he doesn't own an iiRcade.
Perfect viewing angles.
No problems, yeah.
Perfect viewing angles. And you know, as critical as Rexer is, for him to not tear that machine apart, I mean, he knows what he's looking at. I mean, Rexer is definitely a veteran. When it comes to arcade equipment.
Well, the second stream that I saw him, he was on Retro Ralph's show. And he was saying that what we're seeing in the cameras is not doing this justice. Now, I don't know, because he's never seen the first versions probably in person either. But he was talking about like the artwork on the Toe Jam and Earl and the Rising Hell. He said they were just gorgeous. And then he's pretty critical.
Mind if I chime in real quick?
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that because, you know, I had seen the iiRcade when it first launched. I actually was about to buy one like 4 months ago on OfferUp, and the guy it was a Dragon's Lair cab, and he didn't do the art right, and it was bubbling. And I'm like, I'm too much of a perfectionist for that. But yeah, I mean, as far as it's when you look at it online or when you see it on a video, it's way different than when you have it right here. I mean, it really is a pristine cabinet, and it's just Gen 1, right?
Yeah, no kidding. So are you guys going to get rid of your Gen? Are you going to try and sell your Gen 1s?
I don't think I ever will. I love it.
Are you going to get both?
Like we were there at the beginning. I mean, how cool is that? It's like an Atari 2600. Yeah, it's wood grain. It's ugly, but it was like the first console. You know, I like having the throwbacks.
So you think like 10 years from now, people are going to be like, you've got one of the rare Gen 1 Kickstarter editions?
Man,
like, nobody has those.
Imagine if it keeps growing, you know? I think the older ones are going to be cool to have. I mean,
that's a good point, Brad. I didn't think about that. As far as if I'm getting a Gen 2, let's see what the missus puts in the comment section here.
She's watching. She wants to know. I want to know if Mr. Miami Cuddles is getting a Gen 2. He just got his Gen 1. So
yeah.
I think the thing is, too, is iiRcade has a lot of flexibility. If they come out with a killer new game, they can skin that cab like that. And boom, we have a whole new option.
And they have, yeah.
And they can do it. It's because, I mean, their whole system is they can react quickly and they can give us what we want.
So I want to clear up a couple of things about the sound, because a big thing that they were talking about in this is their new partnership with JBL. The speakers that are going to be in the new cabinet are not changing. They're still using the really, really good speakers that everyone has from day one said are amazing, and they are in the original Gen 1 cabs. The speakers are using in this are the same, but JBL is like partnered up with Harman or owned by Harman or something. And Harman, I think you can go to their website and you actually get a sample where they can say, this is what it sounds like without the Harman software. It's like kind of like an EQ software thing that they're doing. And then what it sounds like with it. And it's basically like, it takes the sound and just makes it better,
crisper, more clear sound at all volumes. It's going to be like sound processing that's going to, you know, we already know this machine can go loud. You can wake your neighbors. You want to shake your neighbors' doors. You turn your iiRcade up, they're going to be knocking on your door.
People keep talking about subwoofers and stuff like that. This doesn't need a subwoofer. And I want to be clear about the you can see I'm trying to like point at it right here. The grill It's not going to be the round grills. It's like a grill that goes all the way across, and it's slanted. But the speakers themselves, it's kind of. Michael said that that's not. It's kind of a deception, right? Like the speakers are actually flat, facing towards you still, but there's just that fake grill there, so that the speaker placement is actually still facing forward. So, what do you guys think about the sound on this? Are you guys thinking that is, I mean, is that going to make a big enough difference?
The sound has never been an issue with our iiRcade, as far as like in my opinion.
We're just like waxing a Ferrari at this point, right?
It's like the best. That's the best sound of any of the home arcades, the big companies.
If you've ever watched a Papa Brad video, you know his arcade tours are just off the hook, right? And there's just sound everywhere. And I remember when I was a kid, whether it was Chuck E. Cheese or like Aladdin's Castle. I don't know if you guys are been to some of these arcades back in the day, but I mean, you walk in and you can just hear everything just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, I mean, the sound, it already sounds really good. And I always kind of chuckle, sometimes when I see different modders and they're building out a cabinet, and the one thing they'll chintz on that it just drives me bananas is the monitor. They'll put like a really cheap monitor in there, right? And there's all this lag, right? But the sound, right? It's not hard to get good sound really in a cabinet. So and when it pops, when you're playing Dragon's Lair and you can just hear those moves. I mean, it plays so well and sounds and looks so good. But the sound is key. I agree with what Tony C was saying in the comments. It's a weapon. It's going to be a big deal.
Hey, Mikey, pull up that P-Dubs comment again. Can you read that? What was he saying in there?
They're using the JBL Harman audio effects software technology. I don't believe the speakers will be any different than they are today, but the software will make them sound even better.
Yeah,
that's kind of the gist that I got of it too.
I think so.
At all volumes, more control over the sound.
So this is my question: if this is a software technology, wouldn't they just apply that to the Gen 1s as well? Like,
that's what I was kind of thinking. Right? Yeah,
it's the same speakers, same amp, right? So maybe the new software is going to be pushed, or are they just saying, no, that's for the Gen 2, just to kind of incentivize people to move on to that? I don't know.
Most likely will be a firmware update for everybody. I mean, obviously, we all know they're working on the new UI, which is going to be, everything they do is first class. I mean, when I was building this thing and I was checking the art, and it was like, I mean, within a millimeter, right? The detail is solid.